listener.
In just over 20 minutes, an undercover assignment for Rockcliffe's Babies when the crime squad investigates a frightening case at the local hospital. Now, on BBC One, the news and sport with Martin Lewis at 9:50.
Arthur Scargill flies to a secret meeting in Paris to discuss the NUM's legal moves to freeze a bank account of the International Miners Organization. Its General Secretary denies there has been any wrongdoing and hopes the matter can be cleared up without going to court. And the parents of the British teenagers caught with suitcases of heroin visit them in jail in Thailand. Good evening. Two teenage girls from the West Midlands facing drug smuggling charges in Thailand have been visited by their parents. Patricia Cahill and Karen Smith say they were duped into trying to smuggle heroin valued at £4 million. The drugs were found in their luggage as they were about to leave Bangkok airport.
Shepherded by minders from a tabloid newspaper, the clearly distressed parents of Patricia Cahill refused all comment as they arrived at the juvenile detention centre just after lunch today. Amid some confusion about passports, they were almost refused entry to see their daughter. That was sorted out, but staff reported Mrs. Cahill broke down in tears shortly after seeing Patricia. After an hour and a quarter inside, the couple were still deeply upset as they were whisked away. In a police cell near Bangkok airport, which she shares with two Thai women who speak no English, Karen Smith's spirits seemed remarkably high as the day began. She's still refusing to speak to the cameras, but off-camera she's been using every opportunity to plead her innocence. She said today the teenagers had been asked to carry cans of foodstuffs to Africa by a Chinese acquaintance of Patricia Cahill's boyfriend. She didn't know what was in the parcel, she said. Her heart almost stopped when Thai police showed her it was heroin. As the afternoon drew to a close, it seemed Karen's father might not arrive, but he did. It was an emotional reunion. Then the pair went into a 3-hour meeting with lawyers and Thai police. The seriousness of Karen's plight was etched in Mr. Smith's face as he left his daughter. He insisted he didn't want to say anything which would prejudice her case, but he did have this to say.
She's taken a chin off, that's all.
Upstairs, Karen again refused all comment as she dashed to her cell. The Thai police were less reticent. This senior officer involved in the investigation said he thought the girls must have known something of the contents of their baggage, but he also said they'd been used by people older than themselves. And, in a statement which will provide comfort to the families, he said the teenagers would not face the death penalty. While the visits from their parents may comfort the two teenagers, they do little to change the harsh realities. 2 suitcases belonging to the girls sit forlornly in a locker room upstairs here at Dongwon Police Station, alongside the containers into which were packed over 20 kilograms of heroin. Karen Smith will spend tonight locked in a cell next door. Gordon Brewer, BBC News, Bangkok.
The NUM President Arthur Scargill flew to a secret meeting in Paris today to discuss the writs stopping him and officials of the International Miners Organization moving an alleged £1 million in a Dublin bank account. The writs issued by the NUM executive claim that the money was donated to British miners during the 1984 pit strike but never arrived. Mr. Scargill, who tried unsuccessfully to travel under a false name and apparently did not inform the NUM executive of his journey, has made no comment on the meeting. But the IMO's General Secretary told the BBC that there had been no wrongdoing and said the money was never meant for Britain.
The headquarters of the International Miners Organization on the outskirts of Paris was the setting for the secret meeting. Inside the building, Mr. Scargill and his French colleagues discussed the legal action being taken against them. Yesterday, writs were served restraining them from moving more than £1 million from a Dublin bank account. It's alleged the money was donated by Soviet miners to help British miners' families during the year-long strike, but it never arrived and apparently ended up in the funds of the Paris-based IMO, of which Mr. Scargill is also the president. The French General Secretary of the organization still maintains after today's meeting that none of the Soviet money was meant to go to Britain.
Soviet miners give no money to the British miners, never. Soviet miners give money to the MTUI, and the British miners no member for this organization. This organization is dead in September 1985, and Mrs. Cargill have no power in this union because no member.
But Alan Simon says although the money wasn't theirs, British miners have still benefited from it.
And the British miners, in 4 years, have received about £1 million British fund, help for this fund, in interest. This fund is intact. We use only the interest.
There's obvious annoyance that the IMO bank account in Dublin has been frozen, and the organisation says it wants the matter resolved quickly.
I don't understand why will freeze this money. I don't understand the NEC will freeze the money. It's in the IMO. It's not the NEC. I don't understand. I hope the member for the NEC understand that.
The National Mine Workers Executive weren't apparently told about the Paris meeting, and Mr. Scargill tried to fly to France using the false name Arthur Fenn. He was warned, though, he wouldn't be able to board the plane unless the name on his ticket matched the one on his passport. He's expected to return to Paris early next week for a more